Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear learners, at first take my cordial love and also take my salam. Assalamu alaikum. Hope you are well by the grace of Almighty Allah. I am also well by the grace of Him. Students, I hope you are very busy on your study. Today, I will take a class of your English second paper, that means grammatical side. It is very important for the class 6 to 10 because it is grammatical side. Every student should need this, and I hope it will be very uh, important for your English grammatical side. So please give your attention and serious attention on my class because Uh, today I will discuss about an important subtopics of grammatical side, and let's start my class. I hope you also take your paper and pen, and when you do not understand my topics, you noted this and then comment on my video link. After seeing my I will try to solve your problem, and also you can share with me by Facebook Messenger, and also uh, share with me over telephone, that means mobile. So let's start my class. Students, it is my series class, so I hope you also you already watch my uh, video. It is the second class of Verb. So I request you, please watch my first class of Verb, then you can continue second class because you do not understand properly without seeing my first class. Let's start. Dear students, welcome to my class. Uh, Today I will discuss verb. Students, students, look at the picture. Here we see she teaches her students, and also see she is teaching her students. Here we find is. Do you know what kind of verb is? I hope somebody can understand that it is a verb. And do you know what kind of verb this is? I hope you can know because it is very common. So our topics is auxiliary verb. Today I will discuss about auxiliary verb. This is very important for all learners. When anyone can try to understand English language or try to speak English, he must be know about auxiliary verb or verbs because we already here from my first class, verb is the heart of English sentence or English language. Without heart, man cannot live. Similarly, without verb, English cannot speak. Okay, students, today we will be able to define auxiliary verb, classification of auxiliary verb, and identify the verb. Okay, students, follow seriously and try to understand what is auxiliary verb. An auxiliary verb, its another name helping verb, is used with a main verb to help expresses the main verb's tense, mood, and or voice. I use here Bengali. অক্সিলারি ভার্বটা হচ্ছে এমন একটা ভার্ব যেটার অপর নাম হচ্ছে কি হেল্পিং ভার্ব। এটা কি করা হয়, মূল ভার্বটাকে প্রকাশ করার জন্য ব্যবহার করা হয়। মূল ভার্বের মুডটা কি, ভয়েসটা কি, টেন্সটা কি, আমরা সেটা বোঝার জন্য এই অক্সিলারি ভার্বটা ব্যবহার করে থাকি। স্টুডেন্টস, so we can able to speak what is auxiliary verb and we can define it. Students, we place two example of principal verb and auxiliary verb. Here you see he goes to market. Here we find goes one kind of verb, and second sentence we find he is going to market. Here we find also another verb is. What kind of verb goes? Goes is principal verb and is auxiliary verb. Students, so I hope you can understand what is principal verb and auxiliary verb. Today we will discuss about auxiliary verb. Classification of auxiliary verb. Firstly, auxiliary verb is divided into two parts: primary auxiliary verb, modal auxiliary verb. We know we use shortcut way AB, that means auxiliary verb, and also use B verb. When we say B verb, that means you easily can understand we mean auxiliary verb. Okay, students, classification of primary auxiliary verb. Primary auxiliary verb is divided into three parts. One is to be, number two to have, and number three to do. Here we find three kinds of primary auxiliary verb. And also see here, primary auxiliary verb are to be. To be verb is am, is, are, was, were, be. There are to be verb. And to have are three kinds: have, has, had. And to do, does, and did. These are primary auxiliary verb. Students, here we present here some example by using auxiliary verb, to be auxiliary verb. But you already know that auxiliary verb is helping verb, but sometimes we use it as a principal verb. So we give some example such as he is teaching me. Here we find is, and another sentence is he is a teacher. Here we also find is. So both of the sentence we use is, but is not similar both of sentence. Here in the first sentence we find is as a to be verb, and the next sentence we find here is like a principal verb. Okay, students, here we can able to understand what is principal verb, what is to be verb, and you can easily understand here that is a to be verb, because when you see after the to be verb must have another verb. Here teaching is another verb, and there is no verb in the rest of is. Okay, students, I use here Bengali to better understand. প্রথম সেন্টেন্সটার মধ্যে আমরা ইজের পরে দেখতে পাচ্ছি টিচিং শব্দটা আসছে, এটা আরেকটা ভার্ব। তো কখনো যদি আমরা অক্সিলারি ভার্বের পরে আবার একটা ভার্ব দেখি, তার মানে এটা হচ্ছে অক্সিলারি ভার্ব। আবার কখনো যদি আমরা দেখি অক্সিলারি ভার্বের কোনো ভার্ব না থাকে, তখন ওই অক্সিলারি ভার্বটা হয় প্রিন্সিপাল ভার্ব। স্টুডেন্টস, let's another sentence. We see here sorry, he has teaching me. Here we see has. Another sentence also see has. In the first sentence we see has as a to have verb. In the second sentence we see has as the principal verb. Okay, students. Similarly, here we find another verb after has, and we do not see another verb after has. So a have has. So that has is a to have verb, and another has is principal verb. And similarly, we use do, does, did verb. In this sentence, we do not learn this, and we do the work. Here we see do. Do is auxiliary verb, but sometimes we use it as a principal verb. In this sentence, we see we do not learn. Here I use here Bengali. We do not, এখানে আমরা দেখতে পাচ্ছি we do not learn. ডু এর পরে আমরা দেখতে পাচ্ছি কি এখানে আরেকটা ভার্ব আছে। যখন দেখবো যে আমরা ডু এর পরে কি আছে, আবার আরেকটা ভার্ব আছে, তার মানে এই ডুটা হবে তখন কি ভার্ব? অক্সিলারি ভার্ব। আর যখন দেখবো যে ডু এর পরে কোনো ভার্ব নেই, তখন আমরা বুঝবো যে এই ডুটা হচ্ছে প্রিন্সিপাল ভার্ব। স্টুডেন্ট ক্লিয়ার? সো আমরা এখানে কি বুঝতে পারলাম? এখানে বুঝতে পারলাম যে কোনটা প্রিন্সিপাল ভার্ব এবং কোনটা অক্সিলারি ভার্ব। স্টুডেন্টস, আমি তোমাদেরকে একটু মূল্যায়ন করি। এক্ষেত্রে যেহেতু অনলাইন ক্লাস মূল্যায়ন করার কোনো অপশন নাই, I hope you can take a screenshot on your mobile phone. Then you try to solve this question. Here I uh, ask you some question. How many kinds of auxiliary verb? I hope you can answer me. Then I hope you will try to answer this uh, because there is no way to answer me. So I request you, please write down the answer on your paper and take a picture and then send me by messenger. Okay, students, we continue my class. What is modal auxiliary verb? It is a very important topic. Modal auxiliary verbs, a verb that is usually used with another verb to expresses ideas such as possibility, necessity and permission. That is called modal auxiliary verb. Another we can say uh, a modal verb is a type of verb that is used to indicate modality. Understand? I hope you can understand what is modal auxiliary verb. Modal auxiliary verb, we use here some example to understand it. Please look at the screen. Here I wrote two sentences. He is going to market. Here we use a auxiliary verb is. Is there we find it as a primary auxiliary verb. And the second sentence, he can do the work. Here can is modal auxiliary verb. Okay, student? And I hope you will be better understand when you watch my next class, because we have to know how to use modal auxiliary verb. After seeing my use of modal auxiliary verb, then you can easily understand. Let's start, students. Classification of modal auxiliary verb. Firstly, we can say modal auxiliary verb is uh, two types. Such as such as intrinsic, that means those such as permission, obligation, and volition which involve some kind of intrinsic human control over events. In Bengali, স্বতন্ত্র, অনুমতি, বাধ্যবাধকতা ও স্বেচ্ছাসেবীর মতো ঘটনা যা ঘটনার উপর একরকম অন্তর্নিহিত মানব নিয়ন্ত্রণ জড়িত। এরকম এক প্রকারের কি আছে মডেল অক্সিলারি ভার্ব আছে। অ্যানাদার extrinsic extrinsic extrinsic, those such as possibility, necessity, and predication which do not primarily involve human control of events but do typically involve human judgment of what is or what is not likely to happen. বাহ্যিক, যেমন সম্ভাবনা, প্রয়োজনীয়তা এবং পূর্বাভাস, যা মূলত ঘটনাগুলির উপর মানুষের নিয়ন্ত্রণ জড়িত না, তবে সাধারণত যা হয় বা যা ঘটে না তার মানবিক রায় জড়িত, এমন কিছু মডেল অক্সিলারি ভার্ব আছে। Students, we do not understand very seriously because it is not important for you. Students, classification of modal auxiliary verb. We know firstly it is divided into two parts. One is central modal auxiliary verb and number two is semi-modal auxiliary verb. Students, here modal auxiliary verb we use for its shortcut way MAV, that means modal auxiliary verb. Central modal auxiliary verb. Central modal auxiliary verbs are nine kinds, such as can, could, will, would, may, might, shall, should, must. These are the central modal auxiliary verb. And semi-modal auxiliary verb, classification of semi-modal auxiliary verb. Here some classification of modal auxiliary verb, such as semi-modal auxiliary verbs are four types. Number one, marginal modals, semi-auxiliaries, modal idioms, catenative modals. So we find here four kinds of semi-modal auxiliary verb, such as here we find marginal modals. Marginal modals are dear, need, out to, used to. These are marginal modals. And modal idioms, had better, old, would, rather, sooner, have got to, be to. These are modal idioms. And catenatives are appear to, happen to, seem to, and then sometimes we see participle where added ed, and sometimes we see present participle, that means adding when we sometimes we use modal auxiliary verb as a present participle, that means কিছু ভার্ব আছে যেগুলির শেষে আইএনজি যুক্ত পার্টিসিপল, সেগুলি after when we discuss about participle, then you can understand what is participle and how many kinds of participle, and it is the kinds of non-finite verb. So after next class I will discuss about it, and also I will take a class of non-finite verb. So there you will be able to understand what is participle. Okay students, and semi auxiliaries are have to, be about to, be able to, be bound to, be going to, be obliged to, be supposed to, be due to. These are semi auxiliaries. Okay, students, I hope you can understand the classification of auxiliary verbs. Today, we see at a glance how many topics we learned today. Today we knew auxiliary verb. Here, auxiliary uh, we can understand auxiliary verb, and then its two kinds, primary auxiliary verb and modal auxiliary verb. Modal auxiliary verb are three kinds: to be, to have, and to do. And next we discuss about modal auxiliary verb. Modal auxiliary verbs are two kinds: central modal and semi modal. Central modal are nine types and semi modals are four kinds: marginal modals, modal idioms, semi auxiliaries, and and catenative modal auxiliary words. So today we can I hope you will be benefited from this class, because this is very important topics for learning English, and it will when you will get profit after learning rules, after using rules of modal auxiliary verb, and then you can try to use it properly. And next time I will take your uh, important class, how to use modal auxiliary verb and auxiliary verb, and then you will be clear on it. Students, uh, I give you a homework. Write an example by using every modal auxiliary verb. I hope you will try at your home, and then uh, take a picture of it and send me by messenger. Thank you very much. Uh, Goodbye, and keep quiet and happy and healthy. Thank you very much. Okay.